Thank you, Unity Band. Welcome. You are the light of the world. I think we need to sing that. If you're new to Unity, welcome also all that are joining us online. I want to connect with Reverend Sharon. Please email her for information about Unity of Lansing. If you need prayer support, self-serve coffee and snacks, the back of our beautiful home. So please feel free to help yourself, and also if you want to be a host, let us know. And check our updates on social media. Let's begin in song. Every prayer is answered, every prayer is heard, every thought and feeling, every spoken word, what your soul has longed for, what your heart can feel is already here, is already real. There is no one out there, there is no one else. You hold all the answers deep inside yourself. There's a voice that whispers, there's no you nor me, there's just one, there's just unity. One power, one presence, one light to lead the way. All loving, all knowing, that answers when you pray. When the world looks darkest and your eyes can see, gather all your troubles, give them all to me. I am always with you. I will always be. I am one. I am unity. We are one. We are unity. Beautiful. Thank you. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is actually Winalee. I know there's a little confusion last week. Reverend Sharon is out of town, so let's surround her and her family with love as they're at a celebration of life for her sister-in-law. So let's keep her in our hearts during our service and beyond. Unity's mission statement: together, we spiritually awaken to our oneness with God, with each other, and with all creation. Unity's vision: together, a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. One God, many paths. Together, the enlightenment of the Buddha shines within us, the compassion of the Christ moves through us, the power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us, the presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God. And a prayer for our neighbors, a moment of silence for our neighbors around the world, sharing light of love, strength, comfort, courage, and celebration in the silence. Thank you. We bless Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing, you and me together, please. God is the love budding life within us, the positive force that seeks full bloom. Our hearts let go of fears and anxieties. We are a true reflection of the love and wisdom. We spring forth with thoughts, words, and actions to be a blessing to everyone we meet. And so it is. Allah, Shalom, Amen, Namaste. Beautiful. Our Namaste table conversation topic today is, drum roll, drummer table, please. Thank you, Steve. What do you do with a penny? Greet each other and share your answer. Get ready. Let's sing. Feel free to get up on your feet if you'd like to. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. You be reminded who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Woo! Yeah. Thank you, Unity Band. And Sybil is our platform. service leader today. Yeah, come on up.
Good morning. I'm Sybil Spencer, your platform assistant for today. Unity's daily word is simplicity, inspired by the 144th Psalm. Happy are the people to whom such blessings fall. Happy are the people whose God is love. Today we give thanks for the simplest blessings, the small things that bring a smile to our lips and a warm feeling to our hearts. A hug from a friend, a cuddle from a grandchild, or stroking the soft fur of a beloved pet fills our awareness with love. The sudden lift we see getting a favorite person's handwriting in the mail, or the thrill of spotting a rainbow after a cleansing rain shower spark lasting happiness in our hearts. These things and more remind us that true contentment is found in life's smallest moments, the everyday treasures that comprise daily life and draws us close to God. We focus on these simple blessings and grow in gratitude for our life's many gifts. Let us affirm together, I pause to appreciate life's simplest blessings. This month, we are focusing on our core value of spiritual awakening, and we spiritually awaken our values, shift to a deeper understanding of what it means to live a life worth living. Our appreciation for the simple things in life grows into a major transformation of our understanding of our interactions with all life on this planet. We strive to awaken to the spirit of divine love through positive relationships and being in service to others as an expression of our spiritual oneness. Let us affirm we seek to experience and live from a state of conscious oneness with God, each other, and all creation. Today is Euchre and Games Day, following our Sunday service. This is a self-organizing event and open to everyone. Enjoy potluck snacks, your favorite board game, and a friendly game of euchre. Also following service, if anyone is interested in chatting about Unity history, Wendy Karr, our guest speaker for today, will make herself available in the lodge, or she'll join the euchre game. Our popular series, Courageous Conversations, Talk That Matters, is in full swing. The trifold brochure on your table provides information on the 2 remaining events. This coming Saturday, May 6th, is a workshop we're calling So You Think You're Autistic. There will be a couple short videos and a presentation by Kathy Blacknick from the Mid-Michigan Autism Association. You will gain an appreciation of the gifts and the challenges of being neurodiverse and leave with a better understanding on several aspects of neurodiversity. The workshop is from 6 to 8 p.m. in the lodge. The Lunch Bunch is a monthly social group open to everyone who enjoys eating. This Friday, May 5th at 1 p.m., we're meeting at the Soup Spoon Cafe on Michigan Avenue. It is helpful to contact Nancy Claytor or the church office so we can reserve enough seats. But if you become free at the last minute, drop-ins are always welcome. Sundays at 9:30 a.m., Unity offers Sunday adult learning time, or what we call SALT. Next Sunday is our monthly Mastermind Prayer Circle. The Mastermind process is a collective support of each other's heart's desires. Everyone is encouraged to join us in the lodge or on Zoom as we hold the vision of the highest and best for each other. There are pamphlets for May activities on the tables, as well as information on our website about all our upcoming events, including our weekly work Zoom classes. Take one with you as an easy reference for our upcoming events. Now it's my pleasure to welcome Bella Seigo to share some special music with us.
Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've been here, but I'm so happy to be back. Today we're singing a musical number, like from a musical show. It's from Carousel, and it's called You'll Never Walk Alone.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker today. Wendy has known Reverend Sharon, as she said, they go way back to the 90s. I love that. At Unity in Mississauga in Canada, and she has really enjoyed her relationship with Reverend Sharon and their studies at Unity Village. And I'm very excited and honored to introduce you. Thank you for being
Thank you.
here.
Oh, wow. Thank you. This is my first in-person talk since March of 2020. So, getting used to not having my sweatpants on, getting used to all of this stuff, and I realized I forgot the clicker, which might be helpful. Thank you. So yes, Rev Sharon and I actually discussed my coming here back in November. And so we had made arrangements for sort of January, and then she phoned me this week and she said, "Did you see my Facebook post?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm saddened to hear that news." And she said, "But isn't it perfect? I don't have to find a substitute because you're coming anyway." So there we are. So I am so glad to be here. So I'm going to talk about prosperity. And if Rev Sharon didn't tell you, I am two things. I'm a Bible geek, and I'm a Fillmore geek. And that's what I teach primarily in Canada. So you're going to get a lot of Fillmore today because I've just finished teaching a Bible class and I needed a Fillmore fix. So you're going to come along with me on a journey. So my talk today is about what is prosperity. And that word actually has become has been used against us, that we focus too much on prosperity. And I want to say to anyone who says, you guys spend too much on prosperity, yes, and. Because it's not just about money. It's about other things. It's about your health. Someone said to me, try thinking about illness not as a lack, but as a call for healing about wrong beliefs and buying into things that aren't true about you, that aren't your true prosperity. What is prosperity? Your home, where you live. Does it meet your needs? For me, the house I'm in right now is perfect because I don't have to do lawn maintenance, which when you get a sudden winter storm, just as you're thinking you can put the bulbs in, it's wonderful not to have to shovel. Relationships, your family, your friends, those people you consider family because you've been together either a long time or through some really difficult things, the foxholes, that have brought you together. A healthy sense of self. Who are you? How do you identify? Not in a way of putting ourselves into boxes, but rather to explore how we can relate to each other and how we can find people. A sidebar, when I was widowed just before COVID, I suddenly discovered I actually had a lot of widows in my circles. They just never talked about it. And I'm so grateful I did have, because that allowed me to open up and to be supported and loved and blessed through the process. And finally, mental and spiritual well-being. I've put the two together because to me they're two sides of the same coin. Spiritual side, the spiritual well-being, and mental health for me is the opposite side of that coin, but it's part of the same coin. Our co-founder, Charles, writes, our prosperity is the result of work, not physical work alone, but first mental and spiritual work. And I think that's so important right now. I know as we're coming out of this monstrosity called COVID, it's been difficult. Lots of places are looking for people to hire, but they might not have the kind of wages people want. And we seem to be, at least in North America, and I will include Canada in this, very focused on what does your house look like? What kind of car do you drive? How new is it? Where do you work? What's your title? That's been a big one for some friends of mine. But rather to focus on that inner work, that mental work, that spiritual work. Some people think of prosperity as something separate from their spiritual experience, outside the pale of religion. And I think that's where we kind of trip up. I know I did when I first came into Unity about 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago, that I had been taught that it was a blessing to be poor. And I draw the line from Fiddler on the Roof. Well, it's not very great either. When our main character says, God, you made so many poor people. And that is a false belief that we have adopted. And that's not to criticize, blame, or shame anyone, but rather to say, what is it that we truly believe at the core of our being? And what I've discovered over these last years as a licensed Unity teacher and teaching and watching people go through the process of becoming ministers or licensed teachers is that my understanding of prosperity has to do with understanding the gifts in your life. Because one of the things that I learned, probably 5 years in, after I came to Unity, was that culturally we have a lot of push to give. I remember watching it was barely Boxing Day, which I realize you guys probably don't celebrate, but that's the 26th of December, and it's a statutory holiday in Canada. And literally the 27th, Valentine's Day ads started. And they were like, well, if you don't get her the right ring, if you don't buy her a car, then, obviously you don't love her enough. To which I say, BS. belief system. But what are the gifts that we bring? What are that other half of the equation? Because giving only goes out. Early Unity writer Emily Cady writes in one of her books that she was almost faint with hunger because she was giving and giving because she had said, I will do my medical practice on a love offering basis. And people weren't giving. They were just using her practice and not completing the circuit. And she said the moment she said, I now receive, and truly meant it, the funds started pouring in, people started dropping off fresh eggs for her, all of these things. So let's look at what kind of gifts we have, not only to give, but to be part of a larger picture that allows us to receive. So the first question, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but what gifts do I have? And this is something that I think we get caught up again in North America, that it has to be fancy. You know, you got to be good enough to play in the band. To which I say, no. I got to be good enough that when I sit down at my clunky piano that hasn't been tuned in far too long, I am enjoying the experience. I'm showing myself what that joy is, what those harmonies mean to me. Am I willing to share these gifts with the world? Everyone heard that phrase about you don't put your lamp under a basket? Are you willing to be in front of people? Are you willing to be a part of it? Anyone who's done a Myers-Briggs test will know that the first pairing is introverted versus extroverted. The first time I took the Myers-Briggs, I was such a high introvert. I did it for a university as part of a study they were doing. I was such a high introvert, the grad student who scored me went to her professor to say, I think I did this wrong. And now, all these years later, I have learned how to share my gifts in public, on YouTube, on Facebook, and elsewhere, because I recognize I have some gifts to share. I have some knowledge to share. I have some life experience to share. How do these gifts align with the gifts of people in my circle? Let's face it, today would be really boring if everyone I see in front of me and everyone who's listening and watching later could play a musical instrument as well as the band. We'd have an orchestra, right? It would be a different experience, but it might be boring because, well, do they have time in their music to learn how to play euchre? Do we have people to prepare the coffee and the hot water and wash the dishes afterwards, to greet people? We all need to bring to the table our own gifts and find people who, can help us with this. And that's one of the things that I'm really aware of right now in ministry. Not because I'm a minister or want to be, but because I speak at a number of ministries across Canada. And I'm seeing how things have changed in the last years. How we've become comfortable with Zoom or whatever platform we're using. How we are bringing that message in ways that our co-founders, well, Charles probably thought of it at some level. I'm not so sure if Myrtle did, but what we've done is we've brought forward this ability to interact together in ways we hadn't thought of before. Question 4, what will sharing my gifts look like? Perhaps it's arriving a little early to help set up in the kitchen. Perhaps it's staying late to help with cleanup in the kitchen. Perhaps it is welcoming a newcomer and saying, let me take you on a tour. What is it that we have to do? What is it we are called to be, as our song said? And the most important question in my books is, what am I willing to receive? It doesn't have to be cash. Cash is nice, don't get me wrong. Cash is very nice. I am feeling so blessed right now. There is a Unity book I have been looking for, and I found it on the shelf. And I was told, please take it. It's yours. And I am so grateful because that book was going to cost me more in shipping and duties than the book was worth. So I am so grateful. I am so blessed to be here today. So question one, let's take this with our co-founders. For those of you who aren't familiar, these are Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, around 1925. Myrtle would pass in 1931, Charles in 1948. So by this point, they've got they've had three sons, one passed early. That's a whole other Sunday talk altogether. But what gifts did they bring? Myrtle brought her famous line, "I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness." That one line blew up all of the belief systems she had been raised with. All of the beliefs that she was going to die early, that she shouldn't plan on any kind of life for herself because she wasn't going to live long enough to enjoy it. Charles's famous line, a little bit longer, "In this babble I will go to headquarters. If I am spirit and this God they talk so much about is spirit, we can somehow communicate or the whole thing is a fraud." Charles was very much an intellectual type of person. He did a lot of reading. Myrtle was very much more an intuitive type of person. She did the praying. Am I willing to share these gifts with the world? In 1889, Modern Thought was published. It was a booklet. And Unity dates our origin to that. Then we have a whole bunch of things. We have the foundation of Silent Unity, which is now the Unity Prayer Ministry. 91 we have, and that's 1891, we have Charles naming the movement Unity. The following year, they published their covenant and dedication. As you can see, it's hard to read, it's in Charles's handwriting. "We, Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore, husband and wife, hereby dedicate ourselves, our time, our money, all that we have, all we expect to have, to the Spirit of Truth, and through it to the Society of Silent Unity." That was the name back then. So what was Silent Unity back in the day? It wasn't a building on campus at Unity headquarters. It wasn't even a room anywhere because they didn't have all of those trappings. But instead, they made it a virtual society. And we kind of recognize this. This would be like having a Zoom call together. Whoever will join the society, the only requirement being that the members shall sit in a quiet, retired place, if possible, at the hour of 10 o'clock every night, and hold in silent thought for not less than 15 minutes the words that shall be given each month by the editor of this department. The difference in the solar time between widely separated places will not materially interfere with the result, for to spirit there is neither time nor space. Hence, each member should sit at 10 p.m. local time. So this actually predated their dedication and covenant. But they were creating that understanding that Myrtle had been able to heal her body through prayer, and other people wanted to know how she did it. And it said that their house at times resembled Grand Central Station with all the people coming and going. The house that you see there is the Unity Society for Tracts, they did a lot of publishing early on. And then they had certificates of membership. I won't bother reading it to you. The languaging is from a different period. And I haven't quite figured out how to bring it forward yet, but I know it will. But it was signed by Charles and Myrtle. They were numbered, and they were sent out upon request. So let's go back to the dedication and covenant. We already established, okay, we're Charles and Myrtle, we're husband and wife, and here's what we're promising. It being understood and agreed that the said Spirit of Truth shall render unto us an equivalent for this dedication, in peace of mind, health of body, wisdom, understanding, love, life, and an abundant supply of all things necessary to meet every want, without making any of these things the object of our existence. So let's break this down a little bit. We have a statement of what their physical needs are. Health of body, peace of mind. Isn't that something that we all affirm for ourselves, affirm for our family members, affirm for the world? oh, we lost a line of text, but that's okay. At the bottom it says, and an abundant supply of all things necessary to meet every want without making any of these things the object of our existence. They understood that there was a need for physical, tangible things. Nice clothing, a house to live in, Grandma Fillmore to make the food so that Myrtle wouldn't have to. And it was not to be the object of their existence. And I said that line there because so much of what I see on television and media is about making it the object of our existence. That you have to get a new car every year, that you have to get new shoes every year. I got some new shoes dirt cheap because, oh horrors, I'm wearing 2022 models. Goodness gracious. The spiritual gifts that are listed is wisdom, understanding, and love. Now, Charles hadn't published his 12 powers yet. He had not published Christian Healing, which was the precursor to that. But they understood that there was this balance between the spiritual and the physical. In the presence of the conscious mind of Christ, this 7th day of December, Anno Domini 1892. Now, I don't know, I have not been able to determine who knew about this document besides Charles and Myrtle. It was found after Myrtle's passing when they were putting the Heritage Room together. And what I find really interesting as a historian is I've found other people who had similar documents. So with that basic foundation, let's ask the question, how do these gifts align with the gifts of people in my circle? And what will that look like? So here is the whole family, front row Myrtle and Charles's mother Mary, otherwise known as Grandma Fillmore. In the back row, left to right, are Lowell, Rickard, and Royal. Grandma Fillmore didn't buy into this spiritual stuff. And she took care of the kids as they were younger, especially before Myrtle had her healing and was not able to do the mom things as well as perhaps she wanted to. Grandma stayed with the family most of their lives. And it's interesting to me because Myrtle and Grandma were pretty close in age, so they were very much peers. Her sons, the sons of the Fillmores, inspired the creation of Wee Wisdom. Anyone else grew up with that? It was a children's magazine. It was published for 100 years. What I find interesting is somehow my public library had a subscription. So even though my family didn't know anything about Unity, there was this little booklet that I loved to take out of the library and bring home and read. Who knew? Lowell, number one son, he took over the administrative work when Charles resigned and retired. And so Lowell was able to ensure that the vision kept on. Because as we all well know, when there's a change in minister or administration, things change. It's not the same. It might try to be the same, but it usually isn't. Number two son, Rickard, if you love the buildings at Unity Village, thank Rickard. He was the designer of those. He was the one that said, this is my vision. Number three son, Royal. He passed very young, again, another Sunday talk there, but not before they obtained the first tracts of land that would become Unity Village. And it was those three boys that, really set the foundation for what Unity is at headquarters now. Now, earlier we were talking about the pennies. What's a penny worth? I love these pictures. This is the original headquarters, and the building, the equipment is building what would become the printing area. And I love it because one of my favorite childhood memories was of a book called Mike Milligan and His Steam Shovel. And I'm probably showing my age, but it was a great story about a man and his steam shovel. And that's what it looked like. So the penny story. They had purchased printing presses. Charles was so at the edge of technology at the time. When I had an opportunity to speak with his granddaughter, I said, what do you think Papa Charlie would have thought of this? And this is before we had social media. This is when you dialed in And if you wanted to get a document, you had to tell the computer, your computer, to go to this location, and then tell that location to go to this folder, and then tell it to go to that document, and to download it in binary format. And somewhere deep in my brain, I can still do that, I think. Not that I have to, but it was so complex at that time when I spoke with her. And she said to me, he would have been on the internet right away. He would have been one of the first. He would have been one of the pioneers. So where does a penny come into this? So they had these printing presses, but they weren't fully paid for. And one day, you haven't paid for the presses, we're here to repossess them. Well, word gets around. Someone suggests, well, we probably should pray about this. Let's pray that our faith holds out. And Myrtle, in her quiet way, said, no, let us pray that our faith holds out. I think I said faith twice. Let's pray for the money to hold out. Let's pray for the faith to hold out. You know where my focus is? It's not on the money. It's on keeping my faith strong. But that was what it took. That single penny, that symbol of prosperity, that symbol of income, that symbol of not only giving and receiving. And if memory serves, it's been a while since I've looked at it, I believe your currency says, in God we trust, right? That doesn't on ours. But that focus of where are we putting our faith? So this is what Tracy Ave says it looked like in the 1920s. The only building that's left is the one sort of in the middle, that not the one with the big columns, the one next to it. That's Unity Church Universal. So they went from literally nothing to this huge thing that runs along Tracy Ave from 9th Street to 10th Street at the time in the 20s. That's huge. That's a huge ability to say, we're going to make this work. We're not sure how, but we're going to have the faith that it will be done. Another core part of prosperity for me is prayer. And I just want to give a shout out to May Rowland, because she was the director of Silent Unity, as you can see, for a very long time. She saw Unity through some amazing periods of time in our history as a world. And because of that foundation, that strength, that willingness to stay centered and poised in the midst of chaos, Unity flourished. The Unity message, which really isn't a new message, it's an old message that we've just reminded the world of, was shared in ways that hadn't been thought of. Another person, I told Sharon I was going to do just sort of some vignettes, so here's another one for you. Frank B. Whitney. He was the founder of Daily Word. It wasn't the Fillmores. They had brought Frank in because he was a poet, he was a writer, they liked what he wrote. And he came up one day and he said, I have this idea. What if we put together a little magazine, small enough to fit in a gentleman's pocket or a woman's purse, with a daily scripture, a daily affirmation, and a little piece of inspiration. And we're almost at the 100th anniversary of Daily Word magazine. Now, I apologize, the two pictures on the left are screenshots from a movie that I was allowed to copy. If you can't see it clearly, the top one is of a horse, and the bottom one is of some gentlemen loading hay or straw or something into a wagon. Unity made good use of the land they purchased. They didn't build immediately. They used the buildings that were there. Where have I heard that before? Sounds kind of familiar. Maybe you can fill me in later. But same type of thing. They produced the food at Unity Inn, which unfortunately was lost to a fire. It had been sold, but the building is now gone. And Unity Inn is such an amazing story because not only were they using the produce from the property they had, but they had probably the first vegetarian restaurant in all of Kansas City. And as you can see, they had some very nice buses that went around downtown for lunch, picked people up and took them to food and then took them back down. I'm given to understand from my research that at least one of them was a Rolls Royce. But without that inn, James Dillett Freeman would not have been a part of Unity because he got in through his stepfather's stomach. And Myrtle saw in the young man something that could be added to the community, the skill set that could be brought. And then we would not have two of his works on the moon. I mean, the mind boggles, really. And finally, my final vignette, in a tip of the hat to the band. Carl Frankheiser. It was said if you knew that all of his aliases that he used for writing music, he wrote more band music than John Philip Sousa. Haven't been able to prove that, so fact check me. But what he brought to Unity was music. During the war, he was in a foxhole. He promised God, you get me home in one piece, I will dedicate the rest of my life to you. And then somehow in one of those weird ways that you know is spirit or God or however you name it, being anonymous, he linked up with Charles and Myrtle. Charles had a radio station. He needed some music. He hired Carl. And then once they had the land and they had some space, they would have summer concerts all the way from Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend. The band would play. One of the ministers would get up, give a little speechifying, play some more music, have a wonderful week, see you next week. That's prosperity. It wasn't about that, okay, if you're coming to our concerts, you have to be a member of Unity or you have to join our church or anything. It was, here it is, freely given, free for you to receive and free for you to refuse if it's not your path. And with that, we have, as I hope you've heard, a number of gifts that have come through to be the unity movement that we know now. It's a little early to write the next chapters of the history, but I hope I've given you some food for thought about what prosperity is to you and what it means going forward. And now, Winalee, come. I'm so excited we're singing this.
Please join in. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I know I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I will hold child.
And now, in the tenderness of holding ourselves as a newborn baby child, I invite you to just take a deep breath. Go to that space within yourself where you feel the oneness, where you feel your sacredness, where you feel your divinity. And just breathing into that space, allowing the week that has been to just be, allowing the week to be, to just be. Coming into this now moment, giving ourselves permission to be fully present and not worry about anything else. And in this consciousness, we surround Reverend Sharon and her family with love and light as they move through this next stage of family dynamics. Grieving what has been lost, giving thanks for what has been maintained in memories and photos and videos. Knowing that truly, so long as a name is spoken and the love is felt, there is no death. And just breathing into the space of what is prosperity, what does a penny mean? We allow ourselves to just ponder that, to take in and to be willing, not only to discover our own gifts that may be hidden, but to know that there is a purpose for them. Not necessarily here at Unity Lansing, but the world needs us. The world needs us to pray. The world needs us to love. The world needs us to understand and hold to the principles of prosperity. For truly, as one of us gains this understanding, this consciousness, so too do we bless the world. And in this consciousness, let us take a few moments in the silence to bring forward any prayer requests in our hearts, in the silence. And knowing in our oneness, we bless, appreciate, and love this world, this creation, and we give thanks for this time together. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. No worries. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. Beautiful Unity Band. Thank you so much, Wendy. Wasn't that so beautiful, informative, insightful, and wonderful? So, deep gratitude from Reverend Sharon as well. I know she would be thanking you so much for what you share. I learned a lot. All right, I get to call back to receive from Bella. Thank you, Bella.
Hello again. So Jeff has done an amazing job. My goodness. And so we're singing, well, I'm singing A Million Dreams from The Greatest Showman. And I was like, oh my, Jeff read my mind. So, all right, so let's go for it. I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world
Thank you, Bella. This is a time during our Sunday service to acknowledge and celebrate the sacred circle of generosity. We enter the circle by thanking you for your continued generosity of support of unity through many channels, electronically, by mail, and in person. The circle of generosity includes acts of gratitude for these many gifts by sharing of our gifts with others. For the second quarter of 2023, we are splitting a portion of our tithe with House of Promise, a restoration house that serves as a place to guide trafficked women from survivor to overcomer, and the Greater Lansing Food Bank, a partner to alleviate hunger one meal at a time, to create a future where everyone has access to nourishing food. Let us take a moment to deeply immerse ourselves in gratitude, acknowledging our intimate connection with God by singing, "God is my source."
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
The circle of generosity is the sacred exchange of giving and receiving. Even as we each receive blessings, we now complete the circle by sharing our blessings. The gift we give is not a debt we owe. It is a seed we sow. We know and accept that our consistent generosity creates a consciousness of abundance that attracts good to us now. If you are donating in person, you can place your loving offering envelope, in the glass jar on the center of the table. The ushers will collect them following service. Let us raise our hands, palms open, to symbolically send loving energy to bless our sacred exchange as we affirm together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. Now let us stand as we are able as we sing our closing song, "I Choose Love," followed by affirming the prayer of protection.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace on the planet is growing because I tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. I choose love. We choose love. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God is within us. Wherever we are, God